everyone, and welcome back to another post of Tech Break by Friday. So, today we break down big news and topics in small, digestible moments, as always. I want to apologize for this episode airing a bit later than usual. This week I was a speaker at the Third World Data Science Week in Amsterdam, and due to traveling, it was not able for me to record this podcast on time. I will do my best, so like next week's the episode is up on time for all of you to listen to. So, today we're diving into something I believe every AI creator, user, business, or decision maker should care about: ethical AI and bias mitigation. So, this episode builds on our recent conversation from how neural networks work to the dangers of deepfakes. But we are asking, can we actually trust the AI systems we are building? And what does it take to make AI fair? So let's answer the first question: what is ethical AI? So, ethical AI is defined as the development and deployment of artificial intelligence systems that align with the core human values, such as fairness, accountability, transparency, and respect for the human rights. While this may sound simple, in practice it is complex because AI systems often reflect the biases and limitations present in their training data and design processes. Developers must consider the impact on society, user trust, and legal compliance. While this sounds simple, the reality is much more complex. So let's give an example. AI driven hiring tools can inherit and amplify existing biases if trained on historical data that reflects discriminatory practices, such as favoring men for leadership roles. This is a well documented phenomenon known as garbage in, garbage out. If input data is biased, the AI's output will also be biased. This is why ethical considerations in AI are not optional. They must be integrated into the design and development process from start to avoid perpetuating or worsening existing inequalities in our society. So, where does bias come from? So, usually we have three main places that we identify bias. It's usually data bias, so that means when the data doesn't represent the complete picture of the world. Model bias, when the algorithm favors specific outcomes because of how it's optimized. And human bias, which is basically our assumptions, our unconscious preferences, or even pressure from the outside world. So basically, it's whatever we have as bias from this world, how we see the world, and it's translated into the AI systems. Imagine you're building a facial recognition system trained mostly on light-skinned faces. Without even realizing, your model may become less accurate for people with darker skin tones, and that it's a design failure, not a technical one. So let's discuss now some tools in order for you to be able to check if your AI model is fair. We are not powerless against that, so developers and product teams can test their models for fairness using IBM's AI Fairness 360. It helps to audit datasets. Microsoft's FairLearn can help identify disparate impacts. Google's What If tool lets you simulate outcomes across user groups. Another resource I highly recommend is a website called ethicsforpeoplewhoworkintech.com. I will link this down below in the sources of this episode. It's not just about AI, it's about building ethical products in general. It asks compelling, practical questions like: am I designing something that shifts power away from users? Or who might be harmed from how this works? It's honest, thought-provoking, and straightforward to explore. I revisited after the conference, since this is where I had the chance to meet the author of that book, and I genuinely think it should be part of every team's workflow. So, what can we actually do to reduce risk and bias in AI? So, first step would be to use bias detection tools. IBM's AI Fairness 360 and Microsoft's FairLearn are open source toolkits and help you audit datasets and model biases, as we have discussed, and even suggests ways to fix it. Cleaning and balancing your data, like anonymizing sensitive info, making sure all groups are represented, also makes a big difference to the final model and if your model is actually fair. Test and monitor your models. Regularly check for bias using synthetic data and keep auditing after launch to catch new issues. For high stakes decisions, always keep a human in the loop. Build inclusively. Involve people from diverse backgrounds, including those most affected by AI, in your design process. Make sure your data reflects real world diversity and use explainable AI methods so decisions are transparent. Make ethics part of your workflow. Do ethical risk assessment early and ask who might be harmed if the system works as intended. Use resources like the website that we mentioned before, Ethics for People Who Work in Tech.com, and the Berkeley House Playbook for practical guidance on building fair, transparent AI. These steps turn ethical AI from a buzzword into a real everyday practice, helping us build innovative and fair systems. So, do you know if your AI is fair? The answer might be not yet. But with the right tools, questions, intention, we can get there. Thanks for listening to this episode of Tech Break by Friday. If this has resonated with you, you can share it, rate it, leave a comment. This helps the podcast more than you actually think. And I would love if you could share it with a friend that you think might find it interesting. I'd love to know what ethical dilemmas you are navigating in your work. Please comment down below. And until next time, take care and keep building responsibly.